Hey everybody, this is the video for Thursday, April 2nd. Hope you've made it through April Fool's Day unscathed, and everything else is doing well. From now on, in addition to posting these on the website, I will also email a PDF to everybody who has provided an email address. Remember, assignment number 1 was provide me with an email address. So anyhow, those of you who have complied with that or have since texted an email address to me, I'll just send it to you. It makes that nice and easy. So today's assignment is going to be more word problems, and the first few are converting verbal sentences to algebraic equations. So the last couple of days we talked about greater than or equal to, right? So greater than and equal to is communicated in English as the words at least. Like I need at least $10 means I need a sum of money greater than or equal to $10. So I'm going to give you an example, the kind of problem that you'll see on today's homework assignment. We might say something like some number is increased by 4 and then multiplied by 5. Okay, so some number is increased by 4. So what is that increased? Increased is added, right? So we're going to take some number. What is some number? If you see the words some number, it means any number or some unknown number. And as you know, when we have an unknown number in algebra, we assign it a letter, usually X, but it can be any letter in the alphabet. So we're going to call it X. We're going to say that some number is increased by 4, comma, and then multiplied by 5. So what are we going to do? We're going to first increase some number by 4. So some number increased by 4 would be X plus 4. That's some number increased by 4. Then multiplied by 5. Now, remember, if we just throw it all up there, order of operations, and I've got increased by 4, multiplied by 5, multiply is times. If I just put them all up there together, the multiplication would come before the addition, and my sentence said some number is increased by 4, then multiplied by 5. So what do I have to do? I have to take my number here, and I have to put it in parentheses, then multiplied by 5. That's the finished answer. That's as far as you need to go. So there are 3 questions like that on today's worksheet. So just look for keywords increased, multiplied. I think these are fairly basic. This is a review, but I went to some of the easiest problems. We'll do some more in the coming days that require a little bit more mental gymnastics, but I think you'll get these without much problem. Okay, so the next kind of problem we see on today's worksheet is where we're given some relationship. For example, I'll just talk you through one of them. There's a factory and it's making paintbrushes, right? Factory makes paintbrushes, and we don't know how many paintbrushes they make per day, but we know that some certain percentage of them turns out to be bad, right? So I'm going to give you different numbers from what's on the worksheet, but I'm going to walk you through the same problem. So if I know that, let's say that 10% of the paintbrushes are bad and have to be recycled, which any factory that has to recycle 10% of its product is going to be bankrupt in no time. But so that's not very realistic, but let's think about it that way. And we know that yesterday 50 paintbrushes were recycled. Okay, so let's think about this again. We have a factory, it makes paintbrushes. 10% of their paintbrushes are no good. Have to throw them away, recycle them. Okay, yesterday 50 of their paintbrushes had to be recycled. So what was the total number of paintbrushes that they made? Okay, if if we think about it, then 10% of the total number equals 50, right? 10% of the total number equals 50. Now, in order for me to use a percent, 10% has to be converted by getting rid of the percentage sign and then moving the decimal 2 places to the left. So 10% is 0.1. And we know that 10% is how much gets recycled. And how many total were recycled yesterday? 50. So 10% of their total, or that's what we're trying to figure out, is their total. So 10% of their total was recycled, and 10% of their total equaled 50. So 0.1x equals 50. Okay? 10% of their total equals 50. 0.1x equals 50. So what am I going to do to figure out the total number that was produced? I'm going to get x by itself because x is the total number of paintbrushes produced. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.1, right? These will cross out. X will equal 500, okay? Because 50 divided by 0.1 equals 100. All right, so two problems work that way, and that will kind of be the key. What is it that you're trying to produce? And it will ask you a question like, you know, what was the total number of paintbrushes produced? That's what you're going to use for x, right? X means total number. Whatever you don't know, that's your x. All right, so one more math problem. So a total of 6 problems on today's homework assignment. And this one has to do with a graphing a line, okay? So let's say that, I want to do something similar but with different numbers from what's on your homework assignment. So let's say that, that I start off the week with $10 in the bank. I've got $10 in the bank. But the bank is upset with me because the minimum amount of money that you have to have in the bank is $50. I've only got $10. I'm just making this up. So the bank is going to subtract $1 every day that I don't have $50 in, and I don't have any extra money to put in. So I've got $10, right? So let's think about what that's going to look like on an XY graph, okay? Let's let our y, each one of these hashes equals $2, okay? So here's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Here's what I have in the bank. It's $10. Let's let each of these hashes equal 1 day, okay? Each of those hashes equals 1 day. Now, we're not going back in history, so I can ignore or just erase that part of my x-axis. However, I'm going to leave this negative y because I can owe money, right? Owing money is the same thing as having a negative amount of dollars. So if I start off with $10 and they're going to take away $1 every day that I don't have this and I can't do anything about it, so my balance is just going to go. Let's see what would happen at the end of 15 days, all right? So at the end of the first day, so 1 day, they've subtracted $1. I have 9, right? I check back in. Let's say I check in after 5 days. After 5 days, they've now taken away a total of $5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and they've taken away $5. Okay, if I plot this on a line, this line starts to tell me my financial situation. Now, obviously, I'm just freehanding this up here, so my line's not going to be perfectly straight and everything's not going to be equal, but it's good enough to give you the idea. Okay. What's my x-axis in this particular story? What's my x-axis? Okay. When this line hits the x-axis, that's my x-intercept. Okay. My x-axis is $0. Okay, so my x-axis is $0. So my x-intercept is the day that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My x-intercept is the day that I've run out of money. I have no money. Okay, why? Because this line hits the x-axis, and I started off with $10, and I've lost $1 a day. After $10, I've got no money. But the bank, because of the people that they are, for the next 5 days until I get my paycheck, they keep subtracting $1. Okay? You say, well, you've got $0. How can they subtract $1? Oh, believe me, they can. Believe me, they can. Watch what happens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. I have negative $5. I owe the bank $5. I have $5 less than 0. That's what happens. So, what's my slope? My slope is the amount of money I'm losing per day. Okay, if they're taking $1 per day, it is a slope of what? Think it in your mind. What's my slope? If I'm losing $1 a day, they are subtracting $1 a day. That means my slope is -1, okay? My rise is -1, my run is a +1, okay? Because this is my day, my run is my day, my rise is the amount of money that it's cost me every day. So here's my slope, it's a -1. Remember, slope is rise over run. Wow, my handwriting looks really terrible on that one, but it's rise over run. I trust that you already knew that. Okay, so if I'm losing $1 a day, my slope is -1. If I'm losing $2 a day, what's my slope? -2, because my run is 1 day, right? My rise is how much I'm losing or gaining. My run, my bottom number, is every day. If we're measuring by days, 1 day, 1 day, 1 day, 1 day. All right, so that's how you're going to do that last problem. All right, peace out. Love you guys. See you soon. Not real soon, probably.